The stables at Wentworth Woodhouse are incredibly grand and impressive. They're often mistaken by first-time visitors for Wentworth Woodhouse itself. They were built to house over 30 staff and more than 80 horses, but none of these horses were used for racing. The horses that lived in the stables at Wentworth Woodhouse were used for riding on the estate, pulling carriages, or for working on the land surrounding the house. The racehorses that the family owned were stabled and trained elsewhere, including the North Yorkshire village of Malton. North Yorkshire remains incredibly important in the world of horse racing. Over 70 trainers are listed in the area by the British Horse Racing Authority, including Johnston Racing, based in Middleham. Johnston Racing was established by Mark and Deirdre Johnston in 1987 and is one of the top racehorse training yards in Britain. Uniquely, the Johnstons have had more than 100 winners in over 30 consecutive seasons, achieving success in British and Irish classics and numerous Group 1 races. In 2009, the stable became the first in the country to send out more than 200 winners on the flat in a year, and has gone on to repeat that feat a further 9 times to date. Johnston Racing has had over 5,000 winners, and the stables at Kingsley Park, Middleham, is the base for this incredible racing success story.
I'm Mark Johnston. I'm effectively the Managing Director of Johnston Racing now, as my son has taken over the trainer's licence. I was the racehorse trainer for 35 years. We train just over 200 horses here in Middleham, North Yorkshire. It's been a very fast growing business. Came here in 1989 with 13 horses, and it's mushroomed from there and expanded around the village.
In the early days, things were very different. The first yard that the Johnstons had was in Lincolnshire, and back then, in addition to working at the stables, Deirdre had to keep her day job to make sure that the bills were paid. And there were no gallops at the yard. Mark had to use local beaches to train the horses.
I suppose I started in horse racing because I loved working with the horses. I was a vet in practice before I came into racing, and if it hadn't been racing, it would have been farming or stud farming or something like that. So my initial love was for working with the horses, and of course you love going to the races. That's great, the competition, that's what it's all about. But at the end of the day, I think over the years I realised that those are the moments of glory after months of agony, and really the great thrill comes from the big picture of building this establishment. And the dream was always to build a world-class racing centre here in Middleham. And Middleham's been a training centre for centuries, perhaps one of the oldest in the world. But I wanted to build an international class stable here at Kingsley Park, and I'd like to think we've done that, and I think that's my favourite part, is planning ahead.
In 2024, the situation is very different. Kingsley Park is a 300-acre yard in the heart of the North Yorkshire countryside, and it has some of the finest facilities in Britain for the care and training of racehorses.
The principle of the business is to provide the service of training horses on behalf of their owners. So the horses come here as yearlings, they get broken, schooled, and eventually trained for fitness purposes in order to be running races. We enter them in the races, transport them to the races, book the jockeys, provide all the administrative side of the training of the horse on behalf of the owner.
Racehorse training in North Yorkshire is a well-established feature of the region, and it still makes an important contribution to the local economy.
It's a very labour-intensive business, and obviously all racing stables based in rural locations, and so one of the last bastions of rural industry, perhaps, and rural employment. You would find that a large percentage of the population of Middleham are employed in racing or associated with racing. We're probably in this area of Yorkshire probably only beaten by the tourist industry.
There's an incredible structure that supports the operational activities of a racing stable, and effective leadership and great communication channels are key to ensuring that everything runs smoothly.
Traditionally, the training of the horses takes place in the morning because the vast majority of the racing takes place in the afternoon. So we start work here at 6:15 in the morning. There are 4 lots of horses go out to exercise. So we are basically observing the horses in their work, a gradual build up to peak fitness, galloping them against each other to not necessarily establish a pecking order, but just to ensure that the horse is able to do its best and is ready to perform on the race course. Then we're entering them in the races. Big logistics business as well, and transporting them all around the country. I think we have 7 horse boxes ranging from 2 stalls through to 7 stalls.
The logistics of running a training yard are complex. The organisational skills that Mark and Deirdre introduced into the business are now mirrored in the team of 125 people who work at Kingsley Park. It's a team drawn from all over the world, attracted to work here by the international reputation that Johnston Racing has earned over the years. Underpinning everything that goes on at Johnston Racing is an absolute love of the horses in their care. Mark's veterinary training and that of his son Charlie inform much of what goes on at the stables.
As with any other animal kept for performance or production, if we were to compromise their welfare at all, then they wouldn't perform. And we need these animals to perform absolutely at their best. So we need to treat them as well as we possibly can. They need to be well cared for, well fed, well exercised, and they have to be content and relaxed. They mustn't be stressed. And so everything we do here is about keeping that horse at its best. And so I have no concerns about the welfare of horses in sport. I think from my veterinary background, I soon learned that there is there's no significant welfare issue in equines in Britain in relation to comparison to people or to other species. And amongst equines, the least risk of welfare problems is against those horses, is with those horses in racing and in equestrian sport. They're the best cared for of animals by the most professional owners. And so, yes, we spend huge amounts of money on the infrastructure here to make sure that we can care for the horses in the best possible way and give them every mod con and treatment, and also this beautiful setting to exercise in and paddocks to get out in and so on. But I think throughout the racing world, the standards of welfare couldn't be higher.
In a hugely successful career spanning over 30 years, there have been many standout moments to cherish. But Mark's drive to succeed and to keep on trying to get better at what he does singles out one moment in particular.
There's been a lot of memorable moments and defining moments and milestones in my career, but I suppose the first one, the one that really moved us to a different level, was when Mr. Bailey's won the 2000 Guineas, our first classic success back in 1994. I came to Midlam, I did an interview soon after I arrived in around 1989, and in which I said that I dreamed of classic winners, and a lot of people laughed at me. 5 years later, we got the first classic winner, and I think that's got to still be the most memorable moment.
After 35 years as the licensed racehorse trainer, Mark passed the training licence to his son Charlie in 2023.
Hi, I'm Charlie Johnston and the licence holder and trainer here now at Johnston Racing. I've been, well, in the business since birth really, born into it, but officially since I finished my veterinary degree at Glasgow. So I've been back here full time for I think 9 years now, and that role has been ever growing and developing through that time. 2 years ago I went on to the licence as joint trainer with Dad, and now for the last 2 seasons the horses have been running solely under my name. So the crux of my role on a day-to-day basis is overseeing the training of all the horses here. We have a shade over 200 horses in training, and the majority of them will be going out to exercise every day. So on a daily basis we're planning what work we want them to do and then targeting them towards races and trying to find the best opportunities for them to win races for their owners. So taking over a business of this size is certainly a challenge, but particularly when the bar has been set so high by my dad. The winning most trainer in Britain of all time, had over 5,000 winners. You know, the margin for improvement is minuscule. The risk of decline is great. So, and that's what I've got to be you know, very conscious of, and making sure that standards don't slip here, because you know, we've had 100 winners for, I think this will be the 31st year in a row, hopefully. I come in here every day knowing that, you know, that's where the bar has been set for me, and we have to strive to continue the excellency that's been set here. And you know that there are no half measures in this business. You've always, you know, as soon as you aim to stand still, you'll be going backwards, and it's that drives us forward every day.
Johnston Racing is one of the most famous names in the racing world. Their motto, always trying, encapsulates their ambition to do the best for the horses in their care. It's a winning formula, and one which helps keep Johnston Racing at the very top of their game.